South Africa is a naturally beautiful country with so much to see, explore, and experience. There are also a lot of opportunities. As a Liberian looking to visit South Africa, this is the right video for you. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you all for being so consistent. Into this video, I am sharing the things I had to do concerning the visa process, both the visitor visa process and the student permit process. A lot of people have been reaching out to me. They want to visit South Africa, and people have also been reaching out to me about the study permit. And I have seen that a lot of Liberians are trying to apply for the Mandela Rules Scholarship. So I think this video is going to cut across everything and just be helpful for everyone. So yeah, let's start with the visitor visa process, because it's basically the first thing you have to know. Even if you do get called to an interview, you need to do everything that is on the visitor visa process. Come to the interview. If you get selected, then you'll get to the student permit. So I think this mainly covers Liberians, because other countries have different visa process at the South African embassies. So firstly, the South African embassy is located at Sophie Junction, Congo Town. Yeah, they have a lot of embassies there, but you just get on bike, or if you're driving, once you get to Sophie Junction, turn on your right, go straight ahead. You're going to see the South African flag. Once you see that, just know you're not at the Chinese embassy, you're at the South African embassy. Okay, so let's get into this video, guys. The first thing, you need a passport that expires not less than 30 days after your intended stay in South Africa. Meaning you need to have a lot of days left. If your passport is going to expire, like let's say 20 days or 10 days after your intended stay in South Africa, they are not going to process your visa application. You need to go and update your passport. Another thing, once you have your passport, everything is ready, the next thing to focus on is the application form. So what you do is go on Google, type B184 South Africa visitor visa form. You're going to download that exact form. It is called B184. Type RSA B184 form. You don't need to put visitor visa or anything. You're going to get it. Download that form, print it out, and use black ink to fill out all your details, and make sure you put everything in block letters. That is a very important part. The South African embassy charges 61 USD to process the visitor visa application in Liberia. Same as the student application, actually is the same price, 61 USD. And the only way you can be exempted from this fee is if you're having a signed letter from the government of Liberia for official visit, then that is different. But since we are all locals, we have to pay 61 USD. So the bank account details are just right on the screen, but I would advise you to go to the embassy right in Congo Town, Sophie Junction, get the same list from them. It is possible that they've made some updates, but I cannot tell because they don't really have things on their website. But I would advise you to go there and get the correct bank account details. What I am giving you now on the screen is just a screenshot of what they gave me on the form from last year that I had to use. So please don't do anything funny and blame me, okay? All right, so just a tip for non-Liberians living in Liberia. If you're not a Liberian, you need your residence permit as a part of your application. Now, back to everyone, you need your 3 months recent bank statement signed and stamped. Now, this was actually funny because I was being invited by an organization that they knew was capable of taking care of me. Once I carried my bank account, they just looked at it and gave it back to me. I was like, guys, please, I know I use my bank account just to back airtime, but you don't have to be that mean. But if you're actually visiting, as in visiting to have fun, you need to make sure you have enough in your account to show the embassy that you're able to take care of yourself. Okay? Great. Another thing you need is 2 passport size photos and your flight itinerary. So the flight itinerary is quite important. It shows that you actually have plans to travel. It shows that you're going temporarily and you're coming back to your home country. And most importantly, it shows when you intend to enter the country, when you intend to leave, and also it helps the embassy to validate your visa application and match everything with the travel dates that you've mentioned. This is the part that I am not so sure about. If you're being invited by someone to visit in South Africa, you need a letter from them, a signed letter telling the South African embassy that they have invited you and they're responsible for so and so, so and so, all these technicalities to make sure that you're coming in the country in a legit way and you'll be leaving in a legit way as well. So if anything goes wrong and you cannot be found, the host will be held liable. Now, if you're visiting just to have fun and you don't know anyone in South Africa, I don't think this applies to you. It wouldn't make sense if it applies to you. So just another reason why you should visit the South African embassy and just get a deeper understanding of what you need. Now that you're shown an itinerary, you need to show that you have a booking prepared. Once again, everything is just to show that you have money, because now this is telling the embassy this is where so and so person is going to stay. So you need to give them proof of booking at a hotel or just guest house, Airbnb. You need to give them an idea of where you're going to stay, how long you're going to stay. So everything has to match with your travel dates back again. Once again, I don't think this applies to you if you're going to travel for fun. But if you're going for an interview like I did, you need a signed letter, almost like an introductory letter from your host, giving the intended purpose of your visit. So what the Mandela Rose Foundation did was just write a letter for me talking about the interview, why I was going to South Africa, when the interview was being held, where it was being held, and just all those things. So you will need that from your host, just explaining why you're going to South Africa, where you're going to be in South Africa, Cape Town, Pretoria, Johannesburg, Durban, just wherever you're going to be. So for Liberians looking to visit South Africa to have fun, unwind, just, take another country off your travel list, then these are the steps that you have to follow to get your visa. Once again, make sure you check out the South African embassy located in Congo Town, Sophie Junction. Please check, okay? Oh, and just something to note, the passport size pictures, they have to be colored, okay? And you have to attach them to the form. Once you fill out the form, you attach the passport size pictures to the form, and you carry everything to the South African embassy. So, yep. Let's jump right in to the student permit. Now, this list is a little bit longer, but everything that we've already mentioned that are included in the student permit, I am not going to mention again. I'll just mention all the new things that you have to do. The good thing is it takes 10 to 4 working days for the South African embassy to process your visa. It might take less than that, but yes, just wanted to add that. The same goes for the student permit, so yep. Now, guys, let me tell you something. This is the visa application that made me cry. They have this agency in South Africa, it's called SAGA, South African Qualification Board. So what they do is you send your qualifications, they assess your qualifications, they compare your grades and whatever from your country to their system in South Africa, and they tell you what you're allowed to study. Now, they take forever It took 6 months to get my result. And the South African embassy requires a SAGA certificate in order to process your visa application. So guys, from Liberia, please, it costs $120 to submit your documents to SAGA. Guys, even if you don't get the scholarship and you lose that $120, it is so much better than the anxiety that you will have when you get the scholarship and you're waiting for SAGA. SAGA holds everything. SAGA holds your without SAGA, you cannot get admission to universities in South Africa unless you're attending Cape UCT. I didn't apply to UCT for tourism because they don't have tourism programs, which is really sad, considering that tourism contributes a lot to the South African economy. But yes, other than UCT, other universities, including University of Pretoria, require a SAGA certificate. It's like a qualification certificate. So obviously they require it. And SAGA is going to put a stop to your acceptance letter. SAGA is also, because of the acceptance letter, you're also not going to get tenancy agreement at a residence that you want to stay at. God, it is a lot. So just sacrifice that 120, okay? Great. But I'm wishing all of you the best. So let's just get right into the steps. For the visitor visa, you have to download B184. For this one, you have to download B11738. Use black ink and everything should be in block letters, okay? Just remember that. Once again, your passport should be valid for not less than 30 days, after your intended stay or study period in South Africa. For this study permit, you need photocopies of your passport showing all your details, and if you have previous South African visa, you also have to photocopy that as well. It can be in color or it can be in black and white. It doesn't matter. But yes, you need photocopies of your passport. It's really important. You also need your police clearance. So you can get the police clearance from LMP, Liberia National Police, but it is a process. You need a letter from your community chairman. You're going to take that letter to the nearest police station. You get another document from that nearest police station, which is like a temporary police clearance. You take that to LMP and just work on the entire process from there. Now, I mentioned the police clearance right after the photocopies of the passport because they have a photocopier right next to the police station. They're actually going to be very helpful. You can just do everything together at the same time. Another thing is you need a health certificate. This you can get from any hospital. You have to do some full workout for radiology and just your entire body to show that you're in good health and that you're capable and fit for the duration of your study period in South Africa. That is quite important to this process, and I think it applies to every visa process, not just South Africa. You also need your yellow fever certificate. You can have your health report and your yellow fever certificate. You also need your yellow fever certificate to pass immigration at the Liberian airport. So, even if you're visiting, you need that, just to add that so that you have an idea. If you're just visiting South Africa, you also need to have your yellow fever certificate. You can get it from the Ministry of Health. You're going to take a vaccine. It costs $5, at least that I remember. And for this visa, as I stated earlier, it also cost $61. Another important part, you need to have a medical aid scheme. In South Africa, they have these medical coverages for students. So you need to have a medical aid. Once you pay, so you have Momentum and you have others that I am not aware of. But yes, once you sign up, you pay for a year. You get your number, you get a signed letter indicating that you're covered with a medical aid in South Africa. That is quite important for your application. I told you guys this list is long, okay? Another important part is your acceptance letter, because how are you getting a study permit when you don't have an admission letter to a university in South Africa? Yep, it doesn't make sense at all. So you need a provisional acceptance from the school that you're attending, indicating that you've been given a conditional offer that they can work with. But I would advise you to just wait till you get the full offer before submitting your visa application, which is why you should apply to SAGA immediately so that you get your SAGA result, because once you get your SAGA result, you can apply to these universities and they will send full acceptance letter on time instead of delaying your process. So another thing you need, I'm just going to read this from the phone. You need 2 recent passport size photographs of yourself, 45 millimeters in height and 35 millimeters width, and then it has to be a white background. Okay. Another important part is proof of funds. So if you're going to fund yourself, or if you're going to be funded by your parents or an institution, you need to provide proof of funds that they're going to cover the duration of your stay in South Africa, that they're going to make sure you're fed, your school fees will be paid on time, and all those things. It helps them understand that you have the money to study in South Africa, you have the money to maintain yourself. So it reduces the risks of, leading to crime or whatever, which I understand. That is super important. You need money, and it's important you provide proof of funds. You also need proof of accommodation. So for students, that would be a tenancy agreement at the private residence or apartment that you plan on renting, to show that you have a place that you're going to stay, a very secure place. Another important thing to note, if you're under 18, you need the particulars of someone in South Africa, someone who is going to serve as a guardian to you. So if you're watching this as a parent and you want to send your child to study in South Africa, you need to have a family member here to take care of your child, to assume that responsibility, because if you're under 18, you cannot really make decisions. Doesn't work like that. Also, the same applies to the visitor visa. If you're a non-Liberian living in Liberia, you need to provide your residence permit as a part of your visa application. And for the people in love, I don't even think I'm supposed to say this. They're supposed to allow you to go. Whatever. So if you're married or in a foreign spousal relationship, you need to provide proof of that. So it can be your certificate or whatever. I don't really care. You're in love. I'm not. So deal with it. I'm kidding. It also takes 10 to 14 working days to process your visa. It might be less than that, but this is the time that they've provided. Once again, South Africa is a beautiful country. If you're planning to visit, make sure you follow these steps so that you're well prepared, well equipped, and make sure you come with some money. There are a lot of things around, a lot of places to see, experience, a lot of new food to try, and you need money to be able to have a good time. So, and also things to buy. So come on, have a good time. And if you're applying for scholarships, you have the Mandela Rose Foundation Scholarship. You also have the MasterCard Foundation Scholarship, which just opened. So make sure you try out these scholarships, and just a chance to further yourself, learn something new, and just find new ways that we can all contribute to Liberia's development. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being consistent. I have already provided all the information I have access to. Please don't ask me questions like, where is the embassy located? Because that would just make me angry. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being consistent. If you're new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell. Bye bye.